Just a first comment on Raffles. Raffles is one of those tools whereby when charities realise there are limitations to asking their supporter base for donations because of donation fatigue, and there are limitations to asking their supporter base to do the cake bake marathon run type fundraiser. We know only 20% of supporters do that. Then what charities or not-for-profits in general generally do, they say, um, what's the next way we can engage our supporter base? Typically, charities, non-profits, they say, what's the next way to engage our supporter base to generate more income? And because raffles is something that people sort of recognize, they say, okay, let's hold a charity raffle. Okay. Now, by the way, as charities and not-for-profits progress down that path, they soon realize that fundraising in general has changed. And now it's changed from the perspective of you're doing something really amazing and you're asking people for donations to support that, to the place whereby you're doing something amazing and people now want to come along for the ride. They want a relationship with you and they want the fundraising ask or the fundraising ask to be more of an experience than just a one-way donation. And so Raffles starts to go down that path because Raffles is a game. It's more than just, give us your money, thank you very much. It's let's engage in a game, and then the charity gets the money and the charity still engages in the amazing work that they're doing. And so therefore, although today we're talking about raffles, also look at the other really interesting ways as well that you can engage your supporter base. And what you realize is the more ways you offer your supporters to engage in fundraising, the more people engage and the more money you generate as a not-for-profit or charity. Okay, so to set up a raffle, we click Raffles, and then we click step 1 of 3, create a raffle page. Okay, we'll be presented with this screen, and all of our pages have a page name and page description. So let's say we're going to set this up as a Christmas raffle. With all of your pages, although you can put a lot of text in the page description, generally people don't read long chunks of text. So it's always better if you've got images, if you've got YouTube videos, to embed those instead. Okay. Now, on all of our pages, you can display the total generated on the page or not. You can display the total number of supporters who've purchased tickets or not. And also you can display the share button. Now, these two, again, depending what type of raffle you're doing, they can be useful or not. So some raffles, you've got items and objects you want to raffle off. Other raffles could be something like, we're going to give away 50% of the income for that raffle. And in that case, the total may be quite an interesting thing to have. But the reason why totals are displayed on all pages is because all of the pages on people's fundraising, raffles, auctions, lottery, gift voucher, shops, etc., are fundraising pages in their own right. So it's quite a nice way of communicating how much this particular fundraiser, even though it's a raffle, has generated. Okay, so you also have your own dedicated URL to your raffle page. Each page also has an associated QR code as well. So when you're socializing your page, you'll push out the website address or the page link over social media, over email, over WhatsApp groups, and you'll print out the QR code and put those in physical locations. It could be the office, it could be the charity shop. If you're a PTA, it could be the school gates. Okay. Now, on our system, you set the raffle ticket price, and the raffle ticket price could be literally anything. There are different types of raffles. Some raffles have low value items, like the bottle of wine or the meal for two or the teddy. And some raffles have really high value items. So on people's fundraising, we've seen, Olympic boats being sold and jewelry and things like that. So understand the nature of your prizes and set the price accordingly. I mean, you could have a raffle ticket that's £100, for example. Okay. It all depends what type of things you're raffling off. Okay. And we think as well, the average low value item raffle ticket price is also £3 on people's fundraising. Okay. You specify the total number of raffle tickets you'd like to sell, and then you specify the minimum and maximum number of raffle tickets that anyone can buy uh, at any particular point. This, by the way, setting the maximum number of raffle tickets that somebody can purchase is an important thing to consider. Now, the reason is this. When you're fundraising, you want to develop a relationship with your fundraisers into the future. Okay. And so that means that you're going to do a raffle today, you're going to do one maybe in a couple of months' time, in a couple of months' time, and you want your supporters to engage in all of those raffles so you can generate income over time. Okay. So, as any organization, be it charity or business, to have spikes in income is good, but you really want to have, a consistent level of income which is understandable and knowable over time. Okay, so the reason why you want to consider setting a maximum is that, consider this: there are two extremes of people who are going to enter the raffle. There's one extreme of person who can maybe only buy one raffle ticket. Okay, now you still want them to play over time. You've got the other extreme of person who maybe could buy 20, 30, 40, 50 raffle tickets. Okay. Now, if you allow that person to buy as many raffle tickets as they want, then what will happen over time is that your supporters who can only maybe buy one or two tickets will stop playing into the future because they realize they can't actually win because there are a couple of people who are buying all of the tickets and they've got more of a chance of winning. Okay, so what you do to protect the supporters who can only purchase one or two tickets, you limit the high value supporters number of tickets. Okay, but in the short term, we actually want that money from the high value supporters. Okay, so what is a really good strategy, and a lot of people are employing this, you click optionals, you click on optional donation, and you link a donation page to the raffle. Okay. And then that means that when people are buying tickets, if I'm a high value giver, although I'm limited in this case to 10 tickets, um, but I want to give more, I can give more as a donation. But also, that donation component can be gift aided, which means it's got a 25% uplift. So it's quite interesting that by restricting the number of raffle tickets, you generate more in the long term because the lower value supporters play the game into the long term. And you also generate more in the short term because higher value givers donate the extra portion of what they want to give, which is 25% uplift. Okay, so really consider restricting the number of raffle tickets. Okay, you can also set a default number of tickets. I don't particularly like this. Some charities like to do this, but that's purely optional. You then specify the raffle ticket sale start date and raffle ticket sale end date. And then also you specify the raffle ticket draw date. Okay. Now, if you consider, the sale start and end date, and also you consider things like the price, changing these parameters, you can have very, very different raffle experiences. So you could have your typical Christmas raffle, where, the last couple of months running up to Christmas, you're doing a raffle for the charity, for the PTA, for the sports club, and you've got relatively low value items. That's your typical raffle. But you could also do, for example, a 24-hour raffle. Maybe you're working with a partner, local school, local restaurant, or whatnot, and the local restaurant says, "We want to support the charity, we want to support the school, we want to support the sports club. We're going to give you a meal for four. For example, this coming Friday, you can come to the platform, you can set up a raffle really, really quickly, and essentially you could run it for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days." Okay. So just think about not only modifying things like the price, depending on the nature of the gifts you're raffling off, but also modify the duration of the raffle. And again, it's all about giving your supporters different experiences through the same general construct. Okay. Right, the draw date is generally the same date as the end date. However, on our platform, you can accept or people can pay using Google Pay, Apple Pay linked to a debit card or a debit card itself. Or people can also give you cash, check, bank transfer, and you can upload those into the raffle as well. So all of the offline payments are free of charge. Okay. So a typical use case is that you're running a physical event, for example, and you say at the physical event, we're going to draw the raffle at the physical event at maybe three o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, so you would maybe set the end date to 2:30 in the afternoon, and the draw date to 3 in the afternoon, and then that half an hour gives you time to upload any offline payments, but also to prepare the raffle prize list such that it can be read out, for example. Okay. The page itself also has promoter details. The promoter details are the details on your particular license, and the promoter details will be displayed on the raffle page itself, and it will be displayed on the email that is sent out to the supporter once they've made a purchase. So let's just put in some dummy information. Okay, now that what I've done now is just the basic setup of a raffle page. If I now press create, the second stage is always to assign the raffle to a campaign. And we can talk about campaigns at another time. Essentially, a campaign is an area of fundraising focus within your organization. All fundraising should be based off campaigns. So as opposed to saying, would you like to make a donation to the charity? It should be, would you like to make a donation to this particular charity campaign, or this particular charity campaign, or this particular charity campaign? The psychology behind that is that the more specific you make the fundraising ask, the more people will give. Okay. And then the final screen is where you enter your raffle prizes. Okay, so there are two ways that you can use this. Now, the first way is that you enter your prizes. Just say the name is prizes, and then you list out the prizes, in the description, and then you say, just say you've got 10 prizes, you say there are 10 of them. Okay. Now, what the system will do is, if you would like it to draw for you, hello, Catherine, by the way. What the system will do, if you'd like it to draw for you, which it can, the system will allocate 10 prizes to the winner, or sorry, to 10 different people, and then it's up to you to choose who's won what prize. So again, a typical use case here is you're running a raffle and you're going to draw it physically. You're going to read out who's won, and maybe the people who bought the raffle ticket first get first choice, or the people who come to collect their raffle prizes get the choice of what prize they want. Okay, so that's one mode you can run the raffle. The second mode is that you describe each prize itself. Describe each prize itself, and you say, there's one of these. You press create, and then you add as many prizes as you have. So you could have prize meal, and then you say, there's one of those. You press create, and then what the system will do, if you would like it to draw for you, the system will then allocate each of the prizes to a particular winner. Okay. Right, so very quickly what we've done, we probably spent a couple of minutes setting up a page. We've now got a fully operational raffle page. I can share the page. It displays how much is being generated, how many supporters. The page displays when the raffle is, when it will be drawn, how much per raffle ticket, the prizes, who it's supporting, etc. Very, very straightforward. Okay, I can pay with Google Pay, Apple Pay, debit card. You can't pay with credit card due to UK law. And also, again, if people give you cash, check, bank transfer, you can upload those into the system as well. Okay, but your page is ready to go now. However, you can modify it in quite significant ways. So if I come back to the view, update, or delete raffle pages page and click update, there are many different ways I can now change this. So I can modify the theme. The themes change the look and feel of the raffle in essentially any which way you like. We've got some really nice raffle themes, and we're going to set it to Christmas Raffle 2. It's a really beautiful theme. And what this theme looks like is, when it comes up, this. So can you see how the whole look and feel has been modified? Generally, we take out the people's fundraising look and feel. So just look around and play with the themes yourself, okay? Now you can also embed images into the page as well. So that will be displayed within the description box. You can embed as many images as you want, and then it will be an image carousel. And also you can link your social media hooks to the page. So if you have a YouTube video, for example, I'm just going to download one from YouTube, you'll be able to embed Christmas raffle. You'll be able to embed that YouTube video into the page as well. So on YouTube, you get the share URL and then you simply copy it in there. And then that video will be displayed in the page itself. Okay. If you click on more, there's a few other things you can do. I'd suggest to play around with these yourself, but we've got things like you can enable age verification. So if you're selling things like, alcohol, you want people to be over a certain age. You can also change things like the draw mode as well. Again, things like changing the draw mode essentially modify the basic raffle experience. So, and then we have the optionals tab whereby you can link an optional donation. So when I go to purchase a raffle ticket, it will ask me to make an optional donation. You can also link an optional tombola as well. Now, what this means is that you set up a tombola page, and a tombola is essentially a raffle, but it's an instant win raffle. And then when somebody enters the raffle, they will be entered into the linked optional tombola. And so linking an optional tombola therefore becomes an incentive to buy. Okay. Now, also, you can link an optional membership as well. Now, what this means is that for all of our tools, you can restrict the purchase by membership. And that means you can have a membership overlay on all of the tools. So, for example, you could set up an individual's membership for your charity, good cause, non-profit. And that's a revenue stream in its own right. And as a perk of that membership, you could say, we're going to run a members only raffle, or we're going to run a members only event, or we're going to run a members only tombola, or we're going to run a members only shop. And so therefore, again, the restricting it by membership becomes a modifier to the overall raffle itself. Okay. We've got the notion of symbolic giving. We'll talk about that another time. But also we've recently released what's called Impact Champions. Okay, now Impact Champions are a really good tool for you to be able to, push out your page and get more purchases. So generally, when you set up your raffle page, what you want to do, you want to socialize it amongst your own networks or to the widest network to get the most purchase on your page. Okay. Now, there will be some people who will help to socialize your link or your QR code to your page, okay? Now, what you can do with Impact Champions, you can recognize the people who socialize your page through Impact Champions. So what happens with Impact Champions, you say, okay, this page is now an Impact Champion page. An Impact Champion would then get their own QR code and link to the page. They would socialize it amongst their network, and then you can track how much has been generated from their particular own QR code or link, okay? And then you can recognize them in some way. So, for example, you could be a school, a PTA or a school, and you have a school raffle, and each class has its own QR code and link. And then the different members of the class socialize that QR code and the link. And then you can recognize the class who's generated the most purchases via that link, in some way in the school. Maybe, you can recognize them in assembly and whatnot. Okay, so Impact Champions are a really, really great way of generating that buzz amongst your supporter base. However, you can also make this assign this more to a commercial footing as well. So there'd be some networks, maybe they could be companies, they could be social media influencers, they could be people with just generally a big social following or other following, whereby they would like to help you more, they would like to push out your page, but their audience is essentially their own revenue stream. Okay, so for organizations, individuals like that, what you can also do is you can say, okay, when you socialize the link or the page to your own network, we will give you 5% of of the revenue generated by that page. Or you can say 10% or 20% or whatever revenue split you want. Now, what this does, this now allows you to connect and socialize your page with organizations, individuals who are more commercially orientated, but a lot of the time will socialize your page more effectively. Okay, so because they're generating income themselves, it gives them an extra incentive to socialize as well. You would use it though if you are starting to engage with, businesses, social media influencers, and anyone really who's a proxy for a larger support network. Okay. All right, so let's now update that page again now, and the page will just be updated with the new theme. You can see we've embedded the YouTube video in here because we put the YouTube share URL in there, and we've got all of the prizes down here. Now, also with prizes, you can add image carousels as well to the prizes. When people make purchases on your page, they're going to get an email with all of the details of the raffle purchase itself. And you can see what that email roughly looks like if you click help about, view, update, or delete raffle pages, and you click raffle ticket purchase email, and you can see what the template looks like. And you can also see what the template looks like for the raffle prize email as well. Now, you can also add wording to those templates as well. So if we look at the template for the raffle ticket purchase email, it will have dear first name and then a placeholder for that email notification message. This is where you can add your own custom text to the template. Then it will say you have purchased X tickets from this page. You can view the page here, and then it's got a whole table of all the purchase details. Okay. So in order to add your own custom wording, now the reason why you may want to add your custom wording is just to obviously make the communication, to your supporters more personalized, or you may want to point them to the next fundraising action. So it could be something like you're setting up a raffle and you're selling tickets at the same time. So it could be, thank you very much for supporting the raffle. Did you know you can also buy tickets to our upcoming events as well? Okay. Or it could be, thank you very much for purchasing raffle tickets. This has made a massive impact to us. You can download our impact reports as well. You really want to tailor that communication. So in order to set that, you click notification messages and you add an email notification message, and whatever you enter here will be displayed on the email going out. Okay. Now, likewise, when people make a purchase, they're going to go to a thank you page as well. And the thank you page by default is very basic. So obviously it's themed, and it will just have thank you. Thank you for purchasing X number of raffle tickets to the Christmas raffle. You'll receive an email shortly. You can also add wording to this page as well. Again, you want to customize it, and you do that by clicking notification messages and adding a notification message. So whatever wording you put here will also appear on that thank you page. Okay. Right, and the last thing I'll say about raffles is if you just click the more button, you can add questionnaires to the raffles, you can add e-cards to the raffles, and you can also do things like short linking. So I'll just touch on short linking because people are starting to use this quite a lot. Okay, so short linking is used in a couple of different scenarios. So one scenario is if you want to say do multiple raffles over time. Okay, so just say you do 4 or 6 raffles over the year. Okay, now each raffle page has its own unique link, and so the problem with that is that if I access a link or QR code for a raffle that's finished, then if I click on it or scan on it, I'm going to go to a page that says the raffle's finished. Okay. But I may think that's actually the current raffle. So to get around that problem, what you can do, you can short link it and you can say something like our raffle. Okay. And now instead of having, say, in this case, peoplesfundraising.com/raffle/something, it's now peoplesfundraising.com/raffle. So I can now click on that or scan the QR code and it will go to the raffle page itself. So if I look at that, it will go to the raffle page itself. Now, when I set up my next raffle, okay, what I'll therefore do is remove the short link from this raffle page and then assign it to the next raffle page. And so that means that there's only one link and one QR code to, to your current raffle now and into the future. Okay, so if you publish a if you publish this link today relating to today's raffle, and then you publish it in a year's time relating to the year's time raffle page, they all point to the current raffle. So short links are a very, very good mechanism of always pointing your supporter to the current page. So let's talk about drawing as well. So I've got one of the most important parts. Okay, so drawing, you can set up your raffle such that the system can automatically draw for you or not. And you would set this flag to yes when you update the page. Now, what will happen at the draw date, the system will send you an email with a link that you can log in and draw. But if you take no action, the system will automatically draw the next day at around 2 a.m. in the morning. Okay. Now, one of the reasons why it does that for, as opposed to just draw it at that time, is that what we found in the past is people hadn't quite, uploaded mainly, sort of like offline purchases and whatnot. So we send you the email and you can draw if you want, or you can just leave the system to do it at 2 a.m. the next day. Now, if you set this or not, what you can also do is you can initiate draw yourself. So after the draw date, if you come to this page, these buttons will be enabled. They're quite hard to read actually on the screen. But what they say is draw without notification, and close. Okay. So a typical scenario is you have a physical event. It's now time to draw, and at the physical event, you log into your phone and you want to initiate the draw. Okay. So if you click on the draw button once it's enabled after the draw date, what the system will do, the system will close the raffle, allocate who's won what prizes, email you and the winners who's won what prize. Okay. The draw without notification, what the system will do, it will close the raffle, allocate who's won what prizes, email you but not the winners, such that it's your responsibility to now communicate to the winners what they've won. And the close button will simply close the raffle, and then it's your responsibility to draw the raffle and also communicate who's won what. Okay. So a typical use case here is that you want to convert the ticket purchases to physical tickets and do the physical sort of tombola draw. But generally people either do draw or draw without notification. Now, in both cases, you can also download the raffle prize reports. So you click on menu, you click on reports, you go down to the raffle section. And can you see here, you've got the raffle ticket purchase report, who's purchased what raffle tickets, but also you've got the raffle prize report. If you click on that link and then press download, it will tell you specifically who's won what prize. It will give you the prize name, the page name, the ticket UID as well, the ticket number if you're using ticket numbers, title, first name, last name, email address, and telephone number of the winner as well. Okay, so it's very useful, the raffle prize report. Now, one of the other things we also recommend is that even if you set the page to automatically draw, Always follow up with the winners, because obviously the system will use email to notify winners. And so we know with email, sometimes the email doesn't get through, sometimes the supporter puts in their incorrect email, sometimes it's filtered, etc. So always follow up your winners with maybe a phone call. Okay. Right, so I've got a question there. Let's have a look. Where can we find offline template for uploading any offline tickets bought? So really good question, that one. So if we click on view on our page, and then as long as the raffle is in progress, i.e. the draw date hasn't passed, you can click on buy tickets, and to upload one at a time, you click offline. You put in how many number of tickets somebody's bought, their payment method, so then maybe they give you cash, their details. Now, in terms of details, you don't, although all of these details are required, you only need to capture enough details that you can identify the person itself. Okay, so that could be their first name and their email address, for example. You still have to enter the other information, but it can be dummy information. Okay, and then they may also give you some. They may have also given you some money for an optional donation as well. You click pay, and now that is their, £25 purchase into the raffle. If you put in their email address, they will also get an email confirming that purchase. Okay. Now, in terms of bulk, you click on buy tickets and then offline bulk. In this case, what you do, you click choose file, and then you'd upload a file of all of the purchases. Now, to get that template, you click on help about offline raffle ticket bulk purchases. By the way, in general, always look for the help about section, because that generally gives you that extra piece of information that's missing. So click that, and then it says add bulk offline ticket purchase to your page using the template. If you click download, it will download a template with some examples filled out. Okay, and I'll just tell you how it works. So it's just a simple CSV file. It's not an Excel file, it's a CSV file. You put in how many tickets people have purchased, the payment method, their details. Remember, you only need to put in enough details to identify them. So again, if you're capturing their email address, put their email address in there. If you're capturing their first name, put their first name in there. Okay, you still need to put the other details in, but again, that can be dummy information. If they've agreed to be contacted via email, mail, telephone number, etc. We won't talk about tagging and ticket numbers, but then you would essentially build up this spreadsheet, save it as a CSV, and then upload it via the system, and then it will import all of those offline purchases. Okay. Really quick overview of Raffles, an amazing tool, and again, people understand what a raffle is, but I think hopefully I've shown you how you can take the basic raffle structure, for example, and not only set up a raffle page really quickly, but also change these parameters and make the basic raffle structure slightly different. So do the long-term raffles, do the 24-hour raffles, do the high value item raffles where the ticket price is really high, etc. So yeah, you can take the basic structure of the raffle and present it in different ways to your supporters to give them different experiences. So any questions on that?
Absolutely everything is done online. There's like no physical tickets. It's all completely done by the computer.
It is, yeah. Now you can send out physical tickets yourself. So, for example, when somebody buys a ticket, you can either download the ticket reports, or you're going to be notified that somebody's bought a ticket, and then you can send out physical tickets. For example, if you have people who are resellers, for example, they can take physical ticket stubs with them. when somebody gives them their £5, £10, they can give that physical ticket stub, and you can actually register that ticket stub ID into the system as well. So you can do that. However, what we find is that the physical ticket is really related to specific types of or age groups demographic. So if you have an older demographic, people are used to getting the physical ticket stub. But if you aren't in that age group, generally people are totally fine saying, give us a QR code, scan it, paying Google Pay, Apple Pay, and then they get the receipt in their email inbox. But you can mix the two if you like. Now, one of the things charities, schools, PTAs are trying to do as well is reduce administration costs, reduce administration burden. So by having physical ticket stubs, that increases your cost already because you have to buy the physical ticket stubs. By giving out physical ticket stubs and then entering them into the system, that increases the operational burden as well, which increases your costs. So not only is it an age demographic thing, but a lot of charities, schools, PTAs, sports groups, they're trying to come away from that extra layer of cost and administration, hence the online solutions.
This is the first time I've been running raffles and charity fundraising. So I'm doing it off my own back, and I'm doing it for a couple of dog-related charities. No surprise there. So I've got two little fates that I'm going to be doing, which I was going to be holding an incidental raffle at. I've been trying to get hold of my local authority for a little while to let me know how soon I can get the license to do this, and still waiting for a phone call back from someone. So obviously I need it for this. Does it cover the event, or does it cover like the person? Because he said the promoter would be them, as in my local authority. Is that right?
Well, no, the promoter's you. So you get your license.
Yeah,
you get your license from the local authority.
Okay.
And it will have those details. It will identify yourself as a promoter, and therefore you put whatever's on the license as a promoter on your raffle page.
Okay, that's great, because the charities that I'm running it for, they didn't seem to have a license which would cover this. Would that be the case? It'd be.
So we allow charities, schools, PTAs to do raffles, but also we allow individuals to support other charities with their own raffles, a bit similar to your case.
Yeah.
Now, although you're supporting the other charities, you are still the promoter.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, sometimes what happens is you want to promote your own raffle, but you don't have the license. In that case, what some people do is the charity sets up the raffle for you, and they use their own license details, and then you're a bit like a reseller in that context.
Yeah.
Okay. But really, there's lots of different ways of doing it. But if you've gone to your charities already and they haven't got a license, then it will be up to yourself to do that.
That's fine. But that once the license is granted, there's no restriction over running the one online via People's Fundraising, and including the ones that I'm doing at the school as well. So
yeah,
it would cover all of them. So effectively, is there anything kind of like protocol kind of frowned upon about having two like physical raffles linked to the online raffle and offering the same prizes? And because I can see when I was looking at kind of running raffles before, all I could tell that it was more that it should be all run on the same day when it was the physical ones, but I wasn't quite sure how it kind of impacts when you might be starting, say, the online raffle 1st of November and the last physical raffle would be something like the 28th of November.
Okay. Yeah, so people talk about these things as online raffles. They're not really online raffles. They're a way that people can purchase raffle tickets, and it just so happens to be via your phone or via your PC. Okay. So your typical example for a raffle is you would set up a raffle page, you would socialize it maybe before a physical event, and so people can why not give people the choice to buy that raffle ticket up front. So people are buying the raffle ticket even before they get to the physical event, but at the physical event they can still buy raffle tickets. Right. And they buy it via the QR code. They buy it by giving you cash. You can upload that as well. And then it's just that you maybe draw at the physical event.
Okay.
And you may read out who's won at the physical event.
Yeah.
But there are other modes of raffles whereby there's no physical event, and then you draw it. You don't make a big thing of drawing it, right? You just draw it, and the winners get their email, or you follow them up.
Okay.
Or the other mode is where it's all online, and maybe you've got a Facebook Live draw, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully those three situations show that it's not really an online raffle. It's just a way of managing your raffle, getting something to, choose prizes, and a system to take payment in a legal way as well.
Brilliant. And can you limit in terms of, like, you can share online, of course, but people from anywhere in the world could effectively buy? Is there a way of limiting these things, like if you have to send prizes out
Yeah,
to UK only or something?
Yeah, we've looked into that, and your raffle license will probably say you can only do it UK.
Okay.
And so, for example, what we do find is that some charities will come to us, especially when they're the larger charities, and they will market the raffle as UK only. But internet technology isn't reliable enough that the technology itself can say you're not from the UK. It's not there reliably enough to identify where some people are coming from. But if you think you've identified that somebody's bought something outside of your license conditions, we can always refund that money.
Okay, so the onus is on you to kind of go through information and check somehow, or, I mean, if you state it as UK only and someone in America buys a ticket, are you okay to just, if they get drawn, for example, and you haven't noticed, redraw their ticket? Or, I mean,
this is a really interesting conversation, actually, because the majority of interactions, be they online or not, however much the government want to make sure that nobody breaks the letter of the law, most things are based on trust still. Yes, when you're marketing your raffle, you need to say this is UK only, right? So you're being upfront, you're doing everything you can. Now, you may want to go through your purchases to see if you identify anything outside of UK, and we can refund those. But the key thing is you've done according to best endeavours. That's what authorities look for. Okay.
And there's no lower age limit to buying a raffle ticket online, is there?
I don't believe so, no. I think it depends on prizes. So, for example, if one of the prizes is alcohol, you may want to put on the age verification.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, so obviously, presumably, you're talking about a license for a raffle. So presumably, because I'm a trustee for a charity, would they have that license?
They may have a license. It's an online gambling license, and you essentially get the license from your local authority. Okay. Well, it depends how much you're going to generate. I think local authority licenses, you can generate about £25,000 through your raffle.
You have to apply.
Sorry,
I'm a trustee. You have to apply. I'm a trustee of a charity.
Okay,
We've
so
just applied for us.
I see. So, like, for example, I mean, we're just a small charity. They run it from say Skipton in Yorkshire, but I'm London based. So if we decided to do something online like this, presumably they would get the charity, the managers of the charity, and where they are, or could I get the license from where I am in London?
I mean, one of our trustees has become like because we're running like a 300 club, so she's like the lottery officer now. It's our new title, and she's actually doing it because we actually don't. We're all in different parts of the country, so we've just picked one trustee to manage that.
So presumably then
she got the license where she lived.
Right. Okay, so you could get the license from where you live, but then that would go on our People fundraising page. It just, like this lady said here, it could go out to anyone in the UK.
Yeah, I think so. I'm hoping.
Okay, no, thanks. Do they take a long time to come through, these licenses?
Apparently about 6 weeks.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm still struggling to get hold of mine, because time's running out and you think, ache.
Although I think that does depend on local authority as well.
Yeah,
So
I think it probably
how much
does.
you follow them up, and how many times you ring them and whatnot.
They're probably avoiding me now.
So if people do a raffle at like an event, so say somebody's got a physical event like a dinner or whatever, and then you just do your typical raffle with tickets and things.
That's fine. You don't need a license for that.
You don't need a license.
No, if you go on the Gambling Association website, that talks you through like that style of things. So it's kind of seen as an incidental lottery or an incidental raffle or something like that. So they're okay. It's just when you kind of well, there are several different scenarios, including like society things as well, which closed membership group and that sort of thing, and lotteries and stuff at a place of work and that. But it's quite straightforward to have a look through it. It'll tell you what you need to do for most scenarios that you'd be thinking of, I think.
And what was that called?
It's the Gambling Association, is it?
Or
the Gambling Commission or something.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's all on there.
We have. I think we've got a link to that. If you go to your control panel and click on Raffles, and you can go to the Gambling Commission website on there. But again, that's a really good point as well, because if it can be a raffle that doesn't require a license. It could be a raffle on the day and whatnot. Now you can still use this platform for those types of raffles. So the Gambling Commission, it's not as though they differentiate. Well, this is a case of law doesn't keep up with how people actually do things. Okay, so for example, you could still have your office raffle, which is like a closed raffle, and use this to run it, and it doesn't require a gambling license. Okay, you could still run an incidental raffle on the day using this platform, and it doesn't require a license. So again, what this is it's a mechanism of payment, and it's a mechanism of managing the raffle in one context for an incidental raffle. In another context, it's a way of managing the raffle and taking payment for not a cross-border but a cross-county raffle. And that's I don't know where the law seems to kick in, where it's outside of a closed group.
Yeah, I think it's quite a useful tool. I mean, certainly I was like thinking, how am I going to take payments and stuff for the school fairs and the village fetes and stuff, and that's why I've come on here to have a look, because obviously, like you just said, I can take the payments this way. So I through a QR code, I don't even have to set up. I was thinking about getting like the Square app or something like that for my phone, where I could use my phone to take payments for things. But if people can just scan a QR code, I think that's going to be probably about 80% of the people there. So absolutely takes away the need for me to have something. I mean, I'm selling porcelain Christmas decorations, which is one of the raffle prizes, etc. But because I can do this, I can have 3 or 4 different raffles using this at the places that they're going to be at, and then the only one that I have to debate is the one that might go online, which could reach a whole load more people, but I'll still be getting the footfall from the actual local events, and presumably all of the friends of mine that have said they'll run a raffle at workplace as well, I can give them the QR code for this, and that will be a closed raffle as well. So even though it means that I'll be giving out a few more extra prizes, I'll still be able to give what I was planning to do, which was like 2 sets of decorations plus some individual ones, and be able to offer that in 3 or 4 different places without needing to worry about the online element of it. If that license doesn't come through, it doesn't come through. I just won't run that raffle. I'll still be using this for all the other ones. And actually, that's a good question. Can I use that same link for all of them, like you said about the linking?
So the short link will point to one place.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're running three raffles concurrently, no, because the short link points to one place. But if you're running 3 raffles sequentially, whereby one raffle ends before the next one starts, then the short link is the way to go.
Okay, great. But I could set up 3 individual ones named differently, and because one of my friends works at London Zoo, so it could be the Cinnamon Trust's London Zoo fundraiser, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, or something like that, and they'll have their own individual ones, and anyone else who says to me, oh yeah, we'll do one in our office.
Yeah.
Okay, bro.
Yeah, you know, I think what you said there as well is a really good example of people wanting to fundraise for charities, but they don't want to do that cake bake marathon run style
Yeah, big.
fundraiser.
I mean, I don't know anyone who can bake, you know, and my friends have already run enough marathons, you know, but
Yeah,
they're all
that's
saying,
unfair, isn't it?
how can we help you?
Yeah.
And rather than me kind of, I mean, one of them is lending me her studio to make the porcelain decorations, but and lending me her time, which is so valuable. But, you know, all the other friends who work in offices, and they said, well, you know, what can we do to help? I mean, I can just create them one of these. I can give them a set of decorations, and I can say, stick this QR code in your staff room. I haven't got to do anything. It's brilliant.
Okay, guys. What I'll do, I'll put the recording up on YouTube, and then other people can, you know, hopefully learn from this really good conversations we've had. But as you go and start developing your own raffles, any questions or queries, just reach out to us. We're always here to support. But thanks very much for your time today. It's been really, really good session.
Thank you so much. Really
Thank
helpful.
you.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's been great.